Hey guys, welcome back. Hey, thanks for taking some time out of your day to come in and watch this video with me real quick. So today I want to offer a couple of things on the website, in the store that's available for you. So there's a lot of times in the office I've just realized after COVID and things of this nature that I can't work as with many people as I would like to. So my time is limited to the day, but there's so many things that are online and it has really changed the modality, and I've really stretched my mindset from not having to work with people in person to being able to do more stuff online. And as I've done that, I've created opportunities. I just rolled out a new ebook that I created. I just finished it up last night, put the polishing touches on it, and it's really about anxiety and overcoming trauma, and really using a lot of the science that I've learned from 20 years of working with the brain and my clinical experience and all the different things. And so I put a bundle together. So if you've ever kind of wanted to know about your personal wellness journey, so I've got an assessment that kind of looks at, hey, how is your overall wellness? How are you doing? And it's easy to fill out. It doesn't take a lot of time. And then it looks at, hey, how's your brain function? And it's designed to ask questions about what's going on where with the brain and kind of gives you some information back. So a lot of people know Dr. Daniel Ammon's work, and he's got some assessments in his books that when you get his books, you can read, and then you check the box and it'll give you that. And so this is kind of a very similar format, but not only does it talk about the brain, it also talks about other areas of health and wellness that you can check out as well. And right now, for a limited time, I've also thrown in the new ebook in that as well. So that's a free offer at the moment. So I want to encourage you guys, take advantage of this. Now, if you go and you buy the bundle that's available, if it's up on the store, it's still available. So go grab it. But when you do that, I have to hand create those links. So be patient with me. I'll get you your link coming. And then if you choose to, I can do a health coaching session or a coaching session and go over that with you also. And it won't take a lot of time, and I think you'll really gain some good information in that as well. So I'm trying to be more flexible and work online and bring some of these things to people. So let's go online and let's look at what all is included in this.
Okay, so let's take a good look here and let's figure out what all is in this so you can kind of assess a little bit about this process. So what this is, let's start off with the physiology. So at the top we have the physiology, we have the ISI, and we have the CEC. So in the directions I'll say, hey, fill out the ISI, the CEC, and the physiology for me, okay? And it's real simple. You'll just hit begin assessment and it'll walk you through the questions. Their Likert scale is really easy, not hard at all, okay guys? So then once you get done, it will basically go back and quantify all of these and give us the results, okay? And so let's begin to look at this. So we got a metabolic score over here of 17. So this is in the wellness side of it. This is going to be the personality side, okay? Now, there's all kinds of different personality things in mental health that we can talk about because there's Axis 1 and Axis 2. So Axis 2 kind of looks at personality style. So, for example, of Axis 2 would be like narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder, but Axis 1 would be more of like depression and anxiety and things like that. So there's different axes. So you may think, we just look for depression. Well, we do, but we also look for Axis 2 stuff type as well. So this stuff is fairly straightforward, and it kind of goes in and talks a little bit about this, and then it'll kind of come back on the avoidance side, and it'll talk avoidant, interactive, dependent, and it'll kind of go over those a little bit of detail. And then down at the bottom, it'll kind of give you some other recommendations and guides for change and things you can do. But I've also got the cool bundle right now for the opportunity for you to go grab at a free charge that I just created last night. And it's going to also talk about, okay, so what happens with stinking thinking and impulsivity and all these different kind of things that are happening. Where did they come from? And so let's talk about some examples of all that so that you can begin to understand why I'm creating these resources for you and how you can capitalize on them right now, okay? So one more thing, let's just go to the CEC real quick and let's talk about this one. So attention. Focus and attention is an interesting thing because the more stress you have, the less likely you are to be focused and really be attentive. It takes a lot of brain power to really do some higher level thinking and really be focused, like taking a test and things of that nature. And when you have a lot of stress in life, it's going to utilize and tax the different systems in the brain. So attention may not be as important in the brain as other things, and so it may not get the attention that it needs. And so we can tell here. Now, let's talk about the scaling for a second. What's happening? So based on the questions you ask, it's going to kind of give you an interpretation of these areas of your brain. So for example, when you come down here, I have trouble filtering out background noises. Okay, obviously. So that's going to go back into the attention area, okay? Because that can be a distraction. So that can kind of come back to good adrenal health and good thyroid, so the endocrine system, because we know that people that don't have good adrenal function can sometimes really not handle stressors, noises, irritability, things like that. They're going to be more likely to yell. It's going to increase the likelihood of irritability and arguments within people. Just tone, inflection of voice, things like that. So, and then memory, okay? So I find myself wandering in conversations, once again. So there's a lot of different things that kind of go in to give us this example and what we're talking about here. But just a little bit about that. And I typically go into a little bit more detail with people, and I would be more than happy to go over a coaching session with you on this if you would like. But let's kind of come back to this one, because I want to kind of dive into this one a little bit more for just a second. If you notice, the depression over here is a little bit more elevated than what I would like to see, okay? And if you look over here, well, it's fine. So awareness and perspective are huge. How does this person know if they're depressed or not? What is depression? Because sometimes we think, oh, depression's got to be down in the dumps, can't get out of bed, just feeling completely overwhelmed. Guys, that's not always the case. Sometimes there's things like cyclothymia, which is just a decreased mood over longer periods of time, just not lacking joy. And so there's things that play into that. So it's not always what we perceive, but if you don't know what you don't know, then you don't know what you don't know. And that's one of the biggest things in mental health, is understanding, putting your perspective and awareness together with some of these assessments to give us some good feedback. And that's why I find the brain maps. And I'm rolling out a new program with neurofeedback where you can get that done at home as well. And I have had some amazing results with people. I'm having people say things like, I've never felt more like myself. I'm handling stressors in ways that I've never been able to before, Ryan, and they're just loving it. So the feedback is phenomenal from that. And so really working to create a different state of being, to work on that perception and awareness. Because at the core level, if you were to ask this person, do you feel depressed? Do you know what they told me? No. Okay. So now we've got some instrumentation. Now I've also got a brain map, and I'm going, okay, so we've got some classic signatures for things. So then I don't use these things for diagnosis, but I'm looking at it going, okay, so let's do some other assessments to figure out where we're at and what we need to begin working on in a plan or a modality. So in the health coaching side, we're simply going to begin to work on, hey, let's talk about just this depression or this sadness or this hardness of life at times. And in iridology, sometimes I'll ask for permission to look into a person's eyes, and the eye will begin to tell me life has been hard. Now, a lot of times we don't always want to be like, no, my life's not hard. We don't want to be like, yeah, my life's been really hard. We always want to try to make things seem better than what they are, potentially. So when I see these type indicators and I'm looking at the eye and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, maybe if you've got kids, you might want to shelter their ears, because I just want to talk about a few things real quick. So just be mindful of who's in the room and listening with you. Ryan, I haven't been sexually abused. I wasn't physically abused. I've never had any big T traumas, no PTSD or anything like that. And I'm like, okay. So when I say hard life, what do you think of? Those kind of things. Okay. What about maybe you just didn't feel as smart as you should have been, or maybe you just felt a little dumb. And guys, I get this one kind of from time to time, because as kids growing up, we do the best we can with the resources we've got. But what happens when we're just struggling with resources, or, we don't know how to communicate these things and the needs that we have? And it really begins to affect our self-worth and our value. And that's what I'm talking about. That creates that hardness, because then we overstrive, we have to overachieve, we really push ourselves to that next level to take it to that place to feel like we're valuable or important. And so I call that the must, shoulds, have tos, gottes. Don't should on me and I won't should on you, right? Your greatest weakness shall become your greatest strength. I just want to throw that one out there for a second. And man, we could do a whole video on that, guys. I just want to leave that with you for a second, because you're going to probably think, that's weird, Ryan. What do you mean by that? But this is what I'm talking about getting involved in a program and really beginning to see what this offers and how you can utilize it and the value behind it. Because when I saw this metabolic score, I'm going, okay, we've got to work on bringing this person back into their body, okay, and really being present, because there's a disconnect here. And that's what I'm really beginning to see. And it brings a lot of information to the surface. And so it's going to give me a good direction to go with this person. And then there was also a concern about memory issues. Well, okay, I get that too. Is it a sleep problem from memory? And you might be thinking, well, what's sleep have to do with memory? Well, human growth hormones created when we sleep, and then the different sleep cycles that we can get into. So if we have a lot of stress, we kind of stay more in a fight or flight. Fight or flight's going to amp everything up in the brain. It's going to get that idling rhythm going a little faster. And so what it does at that point is you can't relax. So if you can't relax, how do you fall asleep? So that's when a lot of times that stress cycle, fight or flight, your hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis kind of is overdrive. And you need something to get going in the morning, because that cortisol may or may not be where it needs to be. But then you also got to kind of have something to help slow you down, because those circadian rhythms are kind of getting off a little bit in life. And so this is kind of what I'm talking about. Now, I always look behind, emotional issues for things like, I had a person come in the other day and they were diagnosed from the doctor with a thyroid disorder. And I'm like, okay, that's going to have an impact on mood, but I'm also going to talk about what is the emotional connection with the thyroid, which is being loved, receiving love. And that's a really important one. And this person said, well, I'm going through a divorce. And I'm like, okay, so when did you get this diagnosis? Well, it's been going on for a while. Well, when did you kind of start feeling like you weren't loved? It's for a while. And, I'm not saying that it happens that way every time, guys, but when you understand some of the emotional correlations to health affecting the central nervous system, you're going to see that it changes the response. It changes your blood pressure, your heart rate. All of these things will be impacted, okay? So one of the things, like, I've seen blood pressure come down with people just by doing some heart rate variability training, which is some simple biofeedback skills. And you can go grab the bundle on the website, and there's some other things with heart rate variability. But if that's something you're dealing with, then that one's easy. Just managing your stress, getting back into that parasympathetic and out of the sympathetic dominance. So polyvagal theory talks a lot about different states of central nervous system function. And so it's really important that we learn to rest and relax and rebuild. Now, rest and relax, guys. Not only physically, but mentally too. And that's what we're learning here with this person. And so this mind is a busy mind. It's wandering. So, of course, the body's going to be busy, and we're not necessarily seeing that. Well, give it time, because the next time that we redo these profiles, you're going to see a different profile category, because awareness is going to shift and going to be changed. And that's really important. It's also begin to change the quality of life, because as you kind of walk through not being numb, think about, having that busy mind, not being able to really be present. So you have to stay away from your mood, because the second that you relax, you begin to feel. Now, this is some good stuff. I hope you guys are latching onto this. So, can you think and feel at the same time? No, you can't. Okay? If you can talk and listen at the same time, then I'll say you can think and feel. It's not possible, guys. And the point in that is, a lot of times we're so connected with our phones, with our devices here lately, I go to the gym and I sit in the sun and I just sit there. I'm not listening to music. I'm not wanting to talk. I'm just really working on being centered and being present and grounded in that space. And so it's just time for me. And of course, there's guys, and they're listening to their music and they're bouncing their feet. And I'm going, relax, guys. We're not doing anything in here. But, I'm finding these common things throughout society more often. So, anyway, coming back to hard and just perspective, bringing this back together, guys. That difficulty, it can definitely affect things, like when you look at adrenal function and cortisol and just kidney function and things of that nature. So these are all things that we want to look at and consider. So if you maybe kind of, am I healthy? How have I been doing? Is there something I could work on? Should I take some assessments? Should I take some supplements? How's my stress level? These are going to be some great tools for you to go get a hold of and begin to work with me. And like I said, I would be more than happy to do a health coaching session with you and really work a little bit deeper. You can send me a picture of your eye. We can also do some iridology work. I can also hair mineral analysis. We can take some hair and look a little bit deeper at some of that and do some coaching stuff on that as well. So there's some really cool opportunities available.